Here's something creepy to think about, just to make sure you're all wide awake. If you work for Activision Blizzard and you get pregnant, Activision Blizzard would like to know everything about your baby. It will in fact offer you, the employee, an incentive to hand over the information using one of those fitness tracking apps. Imagine you are pregnant and Bobby Kotick knows everything about your baby. Okay, it's not Bobby Kotick per se, but there is management in Activision Blizzard that is offering employees financial bonuses for using fitness tracking apps like Ovia and Fitbit, all that kind of stuff that tracks people's health. Because Activision would like to know. Activision would like to know everything about its workers, not just physical health, but mental health as well, which is just concerning. Quite concerning. Now, we live in an age where data is king. It's the thing that companies want. They need to know. They need to know everything about you, a person. They need to know your profile, so they know what ads to serve you, so they know what products to put in front of your face, so they know how best to manipulate more money out of you. I mean, Activision Blizzard itself would love to psychologically manipulate its players into spending more money. That's what Activision Blizzard does. Personal information is so precious, and that's why so much personal information gets sold off, shared, utilized, and exploited, something which the internet's rise has only facilitated. Now, most corporations can work out a skin-crawling amount about you in its bid to extract as much cash from you as possible. The information comes from a Washington Post article titled, "Tracking Your Pregnancy on an App May Be More Public Than You Think," which, to be honest, is a headline that should just be applied to any app. Just to be on the safe side. Tracking anything on an app may be more public than you think, because all of these fucking companies share everything. They're either selling your info off, or they're sharing it with some other company that will try and use that data to exploit you. So, you know, just be aware that whatever you put out there may be used by a company to try and get some cash out of you. So Activision Blizzard offers small financial benefits to its employees in exchange for them using fitness tracking apps that Activision can then look at to know as much about their employees' personal health as humanly possible. Now, the apps apparently anonymize the shared data, but that doesn't really matter when they have the raw data and can work stuff out for themselves, especially when it comes to something like pregnancy. That's not a hugely wide pool within a company for most of the year, and companies can use the information to work out for, like, say, how many high-risk pregnancies they have among their employees. And experts worry that the data can be used by companies to reassess their health insurance benefits to scale stuff back if they want. Advocates worry the apps are designed more to benefit corporations, to benefit employers more than it benefits the end user, which I can't say I'm surprised by. That does seem to be the case with almost anything that gathers your data. You're essentially handing these apps the most precious commodity that we have in modern business. You're offering them you, and you, in the eyes of almost every company, are nothing but a resource. Everything about you is data to be extracted and exploited. You are fuel for the algorithm. Anyway, let's talk about how Activision Blizzard is creepy. The WAPO article talks about Milt Ezzard and talks to him about the use of tracking apps such as Ovia in the Activision Blizzard workplace. Milt Ezzard is the Vice President of Global Benefits for Activision Blizzard, and his defense of the use of these fitness tracking apps is just, well, it's very Activision, which means it's rather deeply unsettling.
Oh, each time we introduced something, there was a bit of an outcry. You're prying into our lives,
Ezzard said.
But we slowly increased the sensitivity of stuff, and eventually people understood it's all voluntary. There's no gun to your head. We're going to reward you if you choose to do it.
Right, before we go any further with Ezzard's discussion, I do want to stop right here and talk about what he just said. And this is the reason This was the final deciding factor in me making a video about this. It was that phrase, "We're not putting a gun to your head. No one's putting a gun to your head." And if you watched the video I put out on Monday, the video about BioWare overworking its employees to the point of nervous breakdown, I explicitly called out managers, anyone in management who uses phrases like, "We're not putting a gun to your head. We're not forcing anybody to do anything." This has been used as a catch-all excuse for many companies over many years, not just in the way they treat their employees, but the way they treat their customers as well. We're not forcing anyone to do anything. But in the case of the relationship between management and an employee, we really need to uniformly challenge that phrase, "We're not putting a gun to anyone's head," because we're talking about management, the people who make life-altering decisions for their employees. Most importantly, whether or not that employee has a job, which is one of the biggest life decisions in the world. I mean, it's your job. It's what you do for a living. That is a massive amount of coercive pressure that a company has in its back pocket to use against you at any time. If your boss is saying, "Oh, well, we'll give you a $1 gift card a day for using this app," it's very important to us that you use the app, and we've got everyone else doing it, so maybe you should consider doing it. If all that's coming from your fucking boss, that's a ton of psychological pressure being applied. It's not violent force, it's not a gun, but coercion is a form of force nonetheless, and in some cases can be quite insidious. So I simply don't trust anyone in a management position who uses a phrase like, "We're not putting a gun to anyone's head." It's disingenuous, and it's an extreme visual that they put in your head so you don't think about other forms of pressure, other forms of force. It's such a blatantly weaselly way of trying to justify something as well, to try and make you think about gun violence so anything else doesn't seem so bad. So no, I don't trust anyone. I think anyone who uses that phrase to justify their relationship with their workers is being a fucking snake.
People's sensitivity,
He's back.
has gone from, "Hey, Activision Blizzard is Big Brother," to, "Hey, Activision Blizzard really is bringing me tools that can help me out."
And then he talks about pregnancies in particular, does Ezzard.
"I want them to have a healthy baby because it's great for our business experience, rather than having a baby who's in the neonatal ICU where she's not able to focus much on work."
Jesus Christ. Could you sound more mercenary? Now, Activision claims that it's saving its employees money with the data tracking stuff, that they tightly control the data so that not just anyone can look at it. But people are concerned nonetheless, and, Ezzard's justification of it just sounds... really. Even in trying to extol the virtues of tracking their employees' personal health data, Ezzard betrayed his own cynicism with that last point about pregnancies, about not wanting employees worried about their babies, not for really their own personal well-being, but because, well, then they can come back to work. The article details how Ovia as an app is more concerned with tracking stuff that doesn't actually help the people using the app. The data focuses more on things that affects, whether people take time off work and how best to implement health insurance policies. And at this point, I shouldn't have to point out to you that when I say that, I mean how best to implement health insurance for the company, not how best to implement it for the workers. The benefits of Ovia apparently can't be proven. They boast about their fertility algorithms that determine when it's best to try for a child. But there are just too many variables to prove that the app helps you conceive. Activision Blizzard offers a $1 gift card a day in exchange for data that is almost priceless. And that's something we really need to think about when it comes to personal data. People always worry about their personal data being seized, being spied upon. The government's going to look into my secrets and find out everything about me. But more likely, and what is literally happening, is people are volunteering their data to companies that are no less sinister in their motives for taking it. They've been incentivized, socially pressured in one way, shape or form to give up the data themselves. There's no spying necessary. Apps and social media wants to know who you are, who you're with, where you are, whether you're pregnant, what colour your hair is, what you like to buy, what you like to eat, what you like to look at, what you like to listen to, where you like to walk, where you like to take a shit. If they can get that out of you, they will use it in some way. I will never be in a position where I need a pregnancy tracking app, but if I ever were, I would not want to use one that boasts about having fertility algorithms. I mean, maybe I'm just so sick of the word algorithm, but oh, I hate it. I hate the phrase. Weird. Weird and creepy. And a little bit unsettling. That's the whole story, and that's Activision Blizzard in general.